Hey, Tiny T here, and as promised, I'm back here with a live YouTube video to do a recap here of the presidential State of the Union address. And yeah, it's kind of like I thought there in my pre talk there a little bit. A lot of standing by the Democrats and a lot of sitting by the Republicans, just kind of more the same there. Yeah, gotta say, I was not really impressed by it. I like the guy. I voted for him first time, didn't vote for him the second time because, to me, if you don't do your job, what you said you're going to do, don't, you can say all you want, but, actions talk, what walks. So even though I like the guy, I just don't think what he says is probably all that relevant sometimes. And, like I said, the Democrats, they stood and seemed to clap for everything he said. I think one time he cleared his throat and they started clapping before they realized he wasn't saying anything. Well, that's not really true, but that's about how it was. First thing he said was the economy is growing at the fastest pace in some year he gave on there. Well, I would imagine it's growing at a fast pace, but whether it's better or not than when he get into office, I have my doubts on that just from what I see here on my part of the world. So, I don't really agree with him that the economy is such a great, and if it's improving, it's improving in spite of what he's been doing. So the unemployment rate's down. I don't know. So a lot of people without jobs, and prices are high. Uh, he said the oil prices are down. I thought he'd probably want to take credit for that, but to me, the prices of oil are down in spite of him. They came down because Saudi Arabia decided to pump oil, and he was saying you can't drill yourself out of high gas prices, and he's against about everything the oil companies are trying to do to produce more oil here at home, and trying to seem almost like he's trying to drive prices up and make everybody drive a small economical car like they do over in Europe. So, I'm all for conservation and stuff like that, but, I'm for, drilling oil here at home and producing our own and getting the price of oil back down. I don't know about you all, but the price of oil really does hurt when it's up there high. So I do think that, I do think he tried to take credit for something he had nothing to do with. So don't wasn't really impressed there, and while it's a good thing, I don't really think he was the one that caused that to happen. Like I say, the Saudi Arabia over there and OPEC, when they decided to let market, not to set the market rates and stuff, and they started producing more because here in Texas we had a big boom in oil going, and still do right now, but the price of the gas goes down. They could put them out of business, which probably is what they're trying to do over there in the Middle East. So Obama, as far as I could tell, for environmental reasons or whatever, tried to stop all that he could, and didn't really have anything to do with getting that down. So wasn't real impressed with that. Said the combat mission has ended in Afghanistan. I'm all for bringing our troops home, but it seems like we waste a lot of time there. I don't think things are better. It seems like things have gotten a lot worse in all those countries with ISIS and all that. That Mitt Romney warned about. Now, it may sound like a Mitt Romney fan. I do like Mitt Romney. Don't have any allegiance one way as far as a party, but as far as guys, he's the one that seemed to have everything right in that last election run, and I did vote for him, even though Obama did win on that. They scoffed at everything he said, and it seemed like he had everything nailed down. So I do hope he runs again here at this next election, because I would even support him again if he does run. So said education. I got kind of mixed messages here. Benny says education has higher passing rates and colleges are doing great. And at the end, towards later on, he kind of reversed what he said about education. Education, saying it's in trouble now. We need to give free education to everybody. Well, I'm in education, and I'm middle class, just like probably most of you are, and I don't see education being all that great. I think we got good education, but when you try to educate the masses and you have all the people coming in that don't speak English into your classes, and it's kind of a mess. I don't think I think he's right on the second point that there are some problems there. He's saying that public education is great. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it varies. I think we got some good there, but I think there's an awful lot that don't learn too much. Quite a few loopholes that they go through there on some of that. Kids that come out that I don't know. Anyway, they ain't all that impressed. And didn't really like where he flip flopped on that a little bit. we're saying education was great at the beginning and not so good at the end, that we need to throw a lot of money at it. So anyway, uh, going on here, he said you got 10 million people got health coverage on his. I imagine that's on Obamacare. I wonder how many million of those are ones that lost their health care because of this Obamacare that came out. And I do call it Obamacare because he's the one that headed it up. But I don't like the way he implemented it. I don't like the rollout of it. There's just a lot I don't like about it. I think Mitt Romney in Massachusetts, who they kind of based this after, they said they did it right and did it in the state. And I'd been a whole lot happier if they'd have left that up to the states to do. I ain't for sending my money off to Washington. I don't trust them spending any money. And I don't know about you, but I send quite a few tax dollars over there, and I don't see much return on it. And I just don't see it. A little disappointed there in the middle. He was talking about people don't give me what I want, I'm going to veto it. If they try to change anything I've done, I'm going to veto it. What happened to all that talk about working together? I come back at the end there, and he says, work with the Republicans, blah, 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 that. But that's kind of hard to do when you start out, right there at the beginning saying, I'm going to veto anything they try to change if they didn't agree with what I've done. Well, what happened was, what he's worried about is the people like you and me. We got upset there with the way things are going, and we voted out the Senate from, on record numbers. The Senate was voted out of being Democrat controlled to Republican controlled along with the House. Now he's got to work with people because he ain't running the whole show. He sure seems like he wants to be a czar there and still do whatever. But man, wake up! You lost. You lost the Senate because of what you're doing, and people ain't happy with you. And I hope people don't have short memories. It seems like a lot of people around here have short memories on things. People speak a few nice words and say a few things, and gas prices are down a little bit, nothing to do with him, and they forget and the things that he's done and what the Democrats basically have done, so that are in control right now. So anyway, don't really like that talk where he's talking about vetoing and stuff. And he says everybody plays by the same rules, but like my wife said, what about all those who enter the country illegally? They ain't playing by the same rule, and they don't even want you calling them illegals, but they're here illegally. And as far as I'm concerned, that's not right. If everybody's got to play by the same rules, they need to start there with immigration and make people come into this country play by the same rules. Taxes, he says he's going to give tax breaks to the middle class. Man, anytime I got any money back from them, I made up for it someplace else. I don't know about what happened with you guys with this Obamacare came in, but man, my cost for my health insurance went way up. And I'm middle class. They didn't help me out there. So, man, tax break would be nice, but where are they going to charge me at for it later? So, I'm not really sure if this administration. I don't think he's helping the middle class. They're gonna break the back of the middle class here pretty soon. Is the way I feel like it. I don't know about you guys, but my taxes went way up last year with these guys. So I'm hoping that with the Republican Senate, Republican Congress, that we do get taxes down and do get some tax breaks, and we don't have to pay for them elsewhere. He talked about government providing child care. Why is that even a topic? Why is that a topic? I mean, to me, it sounds like a welfare increase. To me, that's federal government. Maybe a state program if the state wants to get into that, but man, not a federal government program for child care. That just doesn't make sense to me. That's just more. How many tax dollars they want to take for this now? And how do they want to pay for that? They talk about charging the wealthy, but man, there ain't gonna be anybody got any money if they keep, make people. What happened to self-responsibility where people, take care of themselves and do well. I can understand helping somebody out that needs some help, but it seems like there's an awful lot of lazy people out there that are able to work that just don't. And that's to me, it's just wrong. So I don't like that. So another thing is, he's got all these great ideas. First 2 years he was in office, they controlled the Senate, they controlled the Congress, and they controlled the White House. Why didn't they pass all this stuff then? Because the reason is they knew it was not going to work. So I guess that's what I'm guessing. But they had 2 years there. They could have passed anything they wanted to. if they want to make things better with taxes, why don't we start with something simple like a flat tax? So, you don't, I'm guessing how much money am I going to owe this year because I have no clue. How much are they going to charge in taxes? I got to wait to get the papers out and got to figure out my taxes. See, so it's such a stress trying to see how much you have to pay in here at the end of the year. Why not make something like a flat tax where you pay a certain percentage? Don't they want us to know how much we pay? Just right, the employer could take it out, right away, and I wouldn't get anything back. I wouldn't have to worry about paying anything in. Make it simple and give us a flat tax or something simple that can be figured, and we don't have all this guesswork about worrying about how much do I need to withhold. Do I need, if I make a little bit more, do I need to withhold this or that? Make it simple. And talk about getting business back from China. I kind of think they're what drove the businesses out of the country in the first place. I don't know how all that worked, but I know I think capital gains tax is a big topic on that. I hear that they charge businesses basically a tax to operate here, and from what I understand, we charge a lot. Really don't know enough to give too much thoughts about that, but yeah, I agree. We need to get businesses back from China. I think we have a better workforce here, and I'd pay a little bit more for products made in the USA. And me and my wife, we tend to look for stuff made in the USA, and when possible, we try to do that with anything we bought. We look at the labels and see where they're made, and we try to buy American if we can, American made stuff. So, but going on here, just to sum up, I have a hard time believing all the rhetoric that come out in this. He's a very gifted orator, talker. He talks real well, but I can't always believe everything he said. Here a few months ago, they're telling us they started pushing out through the media that the border was secure. We don't have a problem like we used to. And I live along the border. I can tell you the border ain't secure. There's a lot of stuff that goes on down here that don't get in the headline news, basically because if they want to have an agenda, they get the press behind them, the major networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, and they all pass the same word. If they say, well, the border's secure, they start drinking lemonade and saying, yeah, the border's secure. Yeah, there's everything. Well, if you live down here on the border, you can tell the border ain't secure. The farmers that live down here, so there's a lot of stuff going on. And this is really, I think people kind of thinking, oh, okay, I guess the border's secure when they hear all this, until they had all these kids coming across from down past Mexico, down, I don't know if it's San Salvador, but Central America. They're coming up through Mexico and coming up by the train loads and carloads and just coming across the border in droves. That showed us just how insecure the borders were. Because while these kids were coming across, the cartels were still sending drugs across. They were sending gang members were coming across. They're just coming across, mixed in with all these kids also, but they never stopped. So, when they tell you something, don't always believe it's true, especially on the border here. Border ain't secure, and it's kind of a disappointment. So, anyway, I don't see anybody in here. That's what I had to say about the State of the Union address. A little bit disappointed, but that's the way it goes sometimes. I'm looking for a change. I hope, I don't think they're talking about running Hillary Clinton. I think, oh my gosh, really? How can you run her? She seems like everything she's done hasn't really turned out. When Bill Clinton was president back there, they tried to put her in health care then. That was a flop. It didn't pass. The health care that they're doing now, as far as I'm concerned, isn't. Maybe it'll be something in the future. I don't know. I don't think what we had is better than what we got now, and maybe we need a change, but I don't think this is the change we needed. And that's just me as a guy like you. I'm just somebody here, giving you my 2 cents worth. So anyway, Tiny T get a sign out here, and in this music, I don't see anybody in the chat here. If you do, you can type a question to answer, but I'll put on some other musings later on. But anyway, y'all take care.